Look at the castanets. Get them in Spain.
I'd like to make an announcement that we're rooting for the Georgetown Hoyas, hoping that they're going to go all the way in '88.
Go Hoyas. Solid gold rock star playtime. Sing Yip Electronics. Speak into the mic, do not drool. Do not drool. Sanny. Eat. I said eat. Watch you obeys. Watch this. Eat. Shall we do the Gary Schindler story?
Yeah.
It all started in his mom's asshole. No, that wasn't constipation that day. They gave birth to a small piece of shit. It clogged the toilet, wouldn't you know it? It wouldn't flush, so they pulled it out and raised it. Gary Schindler. God, can that guy bowl? Well, he sold some real estate to people who did not know. Come on, Mike, get with it. That guy can't hear us. He doesn't know what's going on. You see that guy? What an idiot. What a fucking idiot. Yeah, right. Yeah, sure, come on. Sure you did.
This is a momentous occasion here today, right before your eyes. We're going to dissect a piece of Gary Schindler. I'm fortunate to have as my guest here on Meet the Asshole, David Schindler, now known as G. David in the real estate field. Mr. Schindler, what attracted you to real estate?
Come on, get out of here. Come on, you're kidding me. Come on, man, you get out of here.
Thank you, sir. Wink Martindale is always a lot funnier than this. I don't know. Mr. Schindler, when did you discover that you were, different than other people?
When I bumped into stuff, I left a brown stuff all over the place. And other people didn't do that. I couldn't understand it. And this odor. There's an odor, bad odor, foul odor everywhere. Other people didn't have that, but I did. And somehow I felt that I was special. Chosen to screw over the world, various women, and that's why they call me Gary.
there's something about you that I can't put my finger on it, but there's just something that I think it's something, sort of an insincere attitude that you have towards life and people and things like that. And I was just wondering, how did you get a stomach like that?
Practice diligence, living at home, and basically that it added a lot of pounds. I am sincere. I just want to say that to everybody right now. I'm an extremely sincere person. I ooze sincerity.
I know you ooze, but that's not from sincerity. I heard actually that you were going to stop bowling and that you were going to start going to services. What? What brought you to that low level, stupid? I mean, didn't the rabbi ask you to stay at home?
That's just a rumor. I've never been convicted by any rabbi or any temple. They're all just rumors.
So far you've had 2 wives and numerous fiancés. What is it that you find in women that after the wedding night and a week or 2 of whoopee, that everything falls apart? What is it that has brought your marriages and basically your whole life to this low level that it is today?
Well, I have a high priority on virgins, and I can't understand it, but the wedding night happens, I fuck them, they're not virgins, and I can't respect them.
Some people have said it's your lack of penis size that has created the various problems within your marriage and in fact in your entire career. Is it true that your erection is approximately 3.5 inches?
At best. But that's probably why I settled back into the next best thing, and I may not have a big dick, but I'm trying to become the biggest dick that the world has ever known.
You're doing quite a good job of it so far. Some people thought that maybe it was your father, or maybe it really was a Oedipus complex, that your inability to stay with your mother during childhood forced you to grow hair on your chest. The resultant hair gave you something to play with, and after that, the rest was history. How do you respond to those claims?
It's true that I do have hair all over my body. A lot of times Mom and Dad didn't know where my head was. I was totally coated with hair. Deep, rich, black hair. And then I used to have this greasy, sort of constant sweaty look. No matter where I went, no matter what temperature. It could be freezing. Me, I'm sweating. Sweaty, greasy. I don't know what it is about it. A lot of my friends just call me grease ball or ooze buddy or just hairball. But yeah, that was true.
Please don't rub the microphone against your chest. You're creating static. But actually, people say that you're really a nice person, and until they have to talk to you, that you really can charm the ladies, and that you're actually getting in shape. What about the question has come up that your stomach is going to be expanded into a 4-lane highway? Is there any truth to that?
8-lane highway with entrance and exit ramps.
Mr. Schindler, as a Jewish person, do you realize that some people have accused you of bringing the Jewish religion to new lows? That the typical jokes about Jewish people being cheap, hating blacks, and being really disgusting human people, that you have brought to that stereotype a new low of being not only cheap, ugly, and repulsive, but actually making this known to large numbers of people at the bowling alley.
That's not true. I resent that. I've never been to Italy.
Why do you like so much garlic? I mean, do you think that eating garlic is going to help your breath match your personality? I mean, what is the point of stuffing your face to oblivion, taking drugs in enormous quantities, and taking a bath with your rubber ducky afterwards?
Well, ever since I lost my wife, that rubber ducky has done wonders. But the garlic it's something that happened to me after watching a Bela Lugosi movie, and just have to, I not only eat garlic, but I wear it while I take baths.
We've heard that you have actually multiplied, that you have a young daughter, and that she is being held as hostage in the Cayman Islands, and that you do have visitation rights. What are you going to do with your daughter when she turns 16? Do you need that question repeated? No. What do you plan to do with your daughter when she turns 16?
I don't want to discuss that. Well, it seems that most people, they said, go forth and be fruitful and multiply. With me, it was go forth and be vegetable and multiply. Sit.
There's often been said that you make the man on the Isuzu commercial look honest. How do you respond to these claims?
Could you repeat that, please?
People have said that you're a lying bastard. What do you respond to those claims?
I am not a bastard.
What do you think your purpose in life is?
To enjoy life to the max. To rip off as many people as I can. To marry as many women as possible. To marry as many rich women as possible. To drive as many people up the wall that I can. To bowl 120 game. And to regularly visit Mr. Ray's.
Speaking of Mr. Ray's, I realize that you're not wearing... Excuse me. Just clearing my throat. You are not wearing the Mr. Ray's hairpiece. Is it true that your charisma has suffered due to the lack of the women being attracted to your phony hair?
I can't understand it personally. It's like a lot of women like wall-to-wall carpeting when they like my hair. Excuse me.
Okay, Mr. Schindler, it's now 63-63. Do you think that Georgetown will beat LSU? John Thompson looks worried on the sidelines. Do you think that Georgetown will get its act together and take charge?
The guy's a nigger. What does he know? There's 9 seconds left. Have you ever seen a nigger figured out anything in 2 days versus 9 seconds? They're not going to do it. They can't do it.
Who?
LSU did.
Georgetown won. Georgetown won it. No, they won it. That was Georgetown. Wrong team, Jeff. Snake? The Georgetown Hoyas won it at the buzzer. Woo! This is a classic moment in NCAA history. The Georgetown Hoyas have made the final shot and gone on into the second round as predicted. Was that it? Was that live? Nice talk. He has quite a tongue. Speaking of tongues, what happened to John Holmes? I heard I do have some gift for you, Mr. Schindler, and that I know you will appreciate in the excuse me, in the privacy of your own boudoir. Here he goes. Off the glass. Woo!
Putting it down for the free, and so Georgetown with a victory over LSU.
This was repeated.
Hobble. I'm going to hobble to key.
Yeah, testing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Testing. Okay. One, two, three. Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you. And now we're going to continue with the Mr. Gary Schindler interview. We want to find out more about this interesting person. I'm Ted Koppel, and this is Nighttime. Mr. Schindler, you've been in the news of late. You said that when it came to bowling, you wanted to let the people decide. We've all decided that we would like you to continue to go to services on Friday night and basically to keep your raincoat and slimy body out of the bowling alley. How do you respond to this particular feeling that we have for you here in the bowling league?
It's the story of my life. Story of my Billy. We've got an expert on Gary Schindler here tonight. Shall the expert talk about the Gary Schindler story? We want to give you the whole facts here on Gary, who he is, where he's coming from, and where Gary's going. Currently, we caught up with Gary. He was recently on a farm, and he was doing appraisals. He was living on the farm. It was sort of a recovery farm where he was trying to recover over the various injuries he's done to a variety of people that are near him. But Gary was there, and this farmer, sort of a Walter Brennan type, took Gary in, and he and his wife took him in, and Gary just sort of stayed around the house. He laid around the house a lot. He ate a lot. He became more obese. He would sweat a lot. But what we're going to try to do is convey some of this. We have an interview here with the farmer, and his name is Farmer O'Brien. And if you want to just go ahead and interview him, you can interview him at any time about Gary. He'll answer all your questions about Gary.
Thank you, Mr. Expert on Mr. Schindler. We will like to hear from that farmer. Farmer Brown is his name?
O'Brien.
Farmer O'Brien. Okay. Mr. Schindler, I think you ate too many tacos this evening. We wish you would please refrain from making comments before we would like to have the words from Farmer O'Brien versus describe how it was visiting with the slick appraiser, Mr. Schindler. So now we have here, live from Timbuktu, Farmer O'Brien. Farmer, thank you for being on our show tonight.
I'm here having Gary living at the fair for about 2 years.
You are telling our audience that you actually lived with Mr. Schindler, this man over here, the one who's balding in the middle and has that pouch coming from the part of his stomach. You lived with this man for 2 solid years?
Well, me and the missus didn't exactly live with him. He was living with us, but if you call that living, Gary was just laying around the farm, trying to recover from, as I said, all the injuries that happened to him before, and that he had done to a lot of other people. I raised a lot of sheep. I raised a variety of farm animals, and I don't know, Gary sort of started to get attracted to some of the sheep.
Is it true that you found him one evening out in the barn and he had 2 young ewes with him?
That's true. It's sad to say, but these were 2 very young sheep that weren't wise to the ways and didn't know Gary. A lot of the other flock had learned Gary's ways and just avoided Gary. But these 2 young'uns, they were experimenting, and Gary used to promise the sheep a lot of things. Gary would come in and talk up a good story to him, tell him about all the riches that he could provide. Something about real estate. Well, needless to say, the young sheep fell for this. They fell hard, too. Gary would have their way with him, promising things that he just couldn't give these sheep. He had no way, no financial way that he could provide these sheep with the things that, the appraisals, it was just it was horrible to see, but the missus and I we did our best, but we couldn't stop it. The sheep have to learn for themselves.
Farmer O'Brien, is that where the expression virgin wool came from? Mr. Schindler's experience with these sheep?
Believe me, you let Gary hang around your flock, he ain't gonna have much virgin wool much longer.
Anyhow, you were kind enough to be on our show tonight to give your side of the story of what living in hell for 2 years is like. We appreciate you taking time tonight, but what I'd really like to know is hear from Mr. Schindler to get his response about what was really going on between him and the animals. And I think that it's only fair that the man or person or piece of fungus have an opportunity to respond to these claims. Mr. Schindler, what do you say to this?
I have no words for it. What can I say? That they were sheep. They were young sheep. I was attracted. I can't do it. My hormones were running wild. I didn't mean it. It just happened. I'd look at the sheep would look at me. Something just happened. And, I couldn't come through on some of those real estate deals. I couldn't provide them with the fast cars, the money that I told them that I could, but look, we had a good time, and to hell with it, man. They're only sheep.
But don't you know that any sheep that listens to you two could not be older than 14 years of age? I mean, you would obviously, wouldn't you know that these young sheep, that they're obviously at least 15 to 20 years younger than you, that you could basically be held accountable not only for statutory rape, but for animal molestation. I mean, there are laws to protect women and female animals, and I think that more of these laws need to be passed to prevent things like this from happening. Sheep are vulnerable. We know that. Studies have proven that a young sheep will believe most anything. Yet you come with your flashy car, your slick hairdo. I mean, you tell a sheep a few good jokes, you give them a drink or two, you take them back into the barn, and I really can't go on. This is a national show, but there should be something to prevent this. Don't you think so, Farmer?
Well, yeah, I tell you, some laws have got to be passed against stopping Gary from carrying on this way. I don't know, Gary was running crazy at the farm. He was just doing all sorts of crazy things. Well, he talked the missus and I into, kept running around with these wild ideas. We had an outhouse out there. Kept saying that we could make a lot of money if we built up a floor on it, and for Christ's sakes, building up a floor, he wanted to turn this into a duplex. He said we could rent the top floor out to some Mexicans, make a little money on the side. He talked a big story. So me and the missus, we went ahead. We was just human and him, built a duplex on the outhouse. He got a Mexican family in there. Entire Mexican family were living in this 4x4 outhouse, upper floor, for about 3 or 4 weeks. It brought no money in. We couldn't do anything with it. Gary felt like a failure again. Kept talking big ideas about the Cayman Islands. That's where the money is, he says. That's where the money. He wanted to open up a series of outhouse duplexes all over the Bahamian Islands down there in the Caribbean. Hire out and sell time-sharing to sheep. The guy was unbelievable. We said, for Christ's sakes, Gary, you're talking about an outhouse. It's a shithole. What the hell? You can't make money off of it. But he insisted, and he just stood there sweating in front of us profusely. I said, Gary, you're so greasy. You're not even Italian. What's going on? He just said, look, love's a strange thing. Sheep just do, I don't know what sheep do to me, but then just Gary kept staring at the sheep. And he turned around and he started to stare at one of my cows. The guy was unbelievable.
That's utterly disgusting. That's a terrible thing that has happened, and I know that all of us here at home and across this country feel sorry for the experience that you went through. I know those 2 years must have been hell, but I want you to know that Bethesda and Rockville are thankful for your assistance in this. How did you deal with Mr. Schindler's obnoxious behavior, his cackling, his rude jokes, and the enormous amount of garlic that he requires in his daily diet?
Well, the garlic, of course, was a major problem, but luckily we're in the outdoors and it didn't bother us too much. We just tried to talk to Gary out in the open and not be in enclosed spaces with him. But the general obnoxiousness, it was just too much. He was going after everything too much. All the sheep, chickens, it didn't matter. He was talking trash, turn around, dumping the sheep, and turn around talking to the chickens, the cows. He was horrible to see. He'd been married twice, and one of the sheep knew about this and was telling some of the other sheep. They caught on, and after a while, the rest of the flock just sort of stayed away from Gary. The two teenage sheep, they got wise too. Once they turned from age 14 to 15, they realized Gary he wasn't coming through on those promises. Now, the chickens, a couple of these hens there, they fell for it for about a week, but then they got wise to Gary. But now one of my cows, fell for Gary, fell pretty hard. It was horrible. Cows are a lot dumber, and they're not too wise, but Gary took this cow for everything she had.
Technical difficulties. Thank you. Well, I think at this point we'd like to get some expert testimony on the influence of slimy characters on farm animals. Somebody I think, who is involved with animal rights groups to give us what the psychological impact to the farm industry has been since the introduction of Gary Schindler to the rural existence. One of our experts today is here for the Society for Protection of Animals from Gary Schindler. We call it SPGS for short. Sir, what is your name, sir?
My name is Jack Wade. I'm with the Society for the Prevention of Gary Schindler. Do farm animals and domestic animals, even wild animals. But I'm telling you, the problem is pretty widespread. Gary was he was a serial molester that was molesting animals he crisscrossed across the country. It was horrible. It sounds funny, but I'm telling you, you know how many calls we got from squirrels, tortoises. It was horrible. It was a horrible scene. Domestic animals, the whole bit. But we've got to pass laws against it. Gary's been taking advantage of. There's no laws that stop a person like Gary from carrying on this way, making promises that they can't keep to animals of any type. He's flashy. He comes in. He talks a good story. It takes in, the animals believe it for a while. They believe it for a while, but then they get wise. Just for instance, we received a call from a chipmunk. We were running a couple of ads on television, and showed Gary's face, and the chipmunk saw one of these and called in, said that some guy that resembled Gary had shown up in his tree trying to sell him parking lot space. The chipmunk suspected something and tried to keep Gary there for a while, but Gary knew something was up. It was suspicious, and took off. Here, I'll just say, Ted, here's the thing. It's horrible.
Obviously, the effect on the animal can be disastrous. Thank God for the 800 line that your Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Animals from Gary Schindler has started an 800 line. I would like to flash this on. If any animals out there have seen Mr. Schindler near them in the past 6 months, I'd like you to call in the phone. We have operators are waiting right now to take your call, and please tell us. Particularly, we'd like to know what type of line that he used. If it was something about real estate or he lately, I think he's been using the line about basically that he's going to turn trees condo, and we'd like to find out more. So right now the phones are ringing, and we'd like to thank you very much for. We'd like to basically find out how many animals have been affected, and hopefully there will be counselors available for you. If not, we will get back to you soon. So please call, and this again, we'd like the camera to look at Mr. Schindler over here. Please, Mr. Schindler, put on your raincoat, please. Thank you. He also can be seen in the raincoat, or take off the coat and put on the shorts. The shorts, notice the hair on the chest. This is the telltale sign of... Now, we have animals that have little black hairs that have kind of... that are proof that Mr. Schindler has been... We'd like you to look on... this is for parents of young animals. Check the child carefully for black hairs. If you see some black hairs that and your animal is a white, like rabbit or something, this is a sign. We have the 800 number is available. Please call.
Thank you, Ted. And we appreciate this time for the society that airing this specific problem. Gary just doesn't stay with the same scam, though. I mean, he had a new one selling lava jewelry in the Cayman Islands that he was running around, and it worked a while. He was selling this to tropical fish. He was crisscrossing. He had caught up with some rare animals. He was down in the Texas area. He started to date a series of armadillos down there, telling wild stories about lava jewelry in the Cayman Islands, and if they'd put up a little bit of money, he could double it, triple it, quadruple it. Well, armadillos, like anybody, are going to fall for that. They're going to fall for the greed. They're going to be taken advantage. But a con artist like Gary is going to go around and try to do this. He would sell time-sharing and real estate deals to these armadillos, promising, like if they wanted to take a week's vacation anywhere, European vacation, a Bahamian vacation, he would promise more than he could give a lot of times. It was very embarrassing. Several armadillos would show up at the same time for the time sharing during the week. They didn't know what was going on. They had planned. They had saved their money. But here was Gary taking total advantage of this thing. Not to mention, smelling of garlic and just generally greasing around Texas. But we've got to stop these things. We've got to stop Gary and people like Gary. There's other people that are following up Gary. One of them, they hang around bowling alleys a lot. But it's unbelievable with the type of things that he can get away with, the things that he says to people and about people. He's willing to slime on anybody. And it's got to be stopped. The farmer, I'm glad the farmer did come on and relate some of the stories of how Gary can act when you take him into your home, and the way that he treats your domestic animals, the way he treats wild animals, the way he treats Mexicans. It's horrible. It's just not right.
Well, thank you. We've appreciated your appearance today, and we want to thank you very much. But I think we need to get back to Mr. Schindler and to discuss in further detail basically why he got into the real estate and why he feels that every man, woman, and animal should basically become a slum landlord, but basically get more into real estate. And I feel that he has started these what we call the pyramid schemes, where either we have time sharing, or basically that a person can sell a piece of real estate to another person and hope that person will then apparently sell it again, and basically it's an entire scam where there actually is no official deed to the property. Mr. Schindler, what brought you into real estate? Why do you feel that real estate has made you the person you are today?
Come on, get out of here. You're kidding me. You're putting me on. God, come on, get out of here. Real estate. You guys, are you kidding me? You guys kidding me? Come on. Actually, look, sincerely, real estate is a very good investment for animals. It's a good investment for anybody. I mean, why should I rob other people of, something? Squirrels have a right to make money. Armadillos have a right to make money. I mean, I've heard a lot of talk today about me. I've heard a lot of cutting down. I've heard stories about me with sheep. I've heard stories about me dating armadillos. I've heard stories about time sharing and all of this. I've heard your side of what's going on, but nobody's listening to my side. These were legitimate deals. These armadillos knew what they were getting into. I did not promise anything to them that I couldn't deliver on it. The sheep, what can I say? It was sad. These sheep were attracted to me on this farm, on Mr. O'Brien's farm. They were attracted to me. There was nothing I could do about it. They kept, what do you do when a sheep throws itself at you? A young, beautiful sheep full of wool just sort of throws itself at you. I mean, I'd like to know any other men out there that could avoid that type of situation. Huh? Just tell me. Just tell me.
But Mr. Schindler, isn't it true that you not only repeatedly slept with sheep, but that you took pictures of them with your Polaroid camera and attempted to sell them to Farmer O'Brien for twice the profit that was necessary on these items? Isn't that true? Isn't that going beyond just an attraction between you and a sheep? I mean, isn't this going beyond what is acceptable to the standards of the American public? Why are you selling pictures of you with the sheep if it was just an infatuation?
I think that these accusations made about, okay, look, there were Polaroids, there were pictures. I'll freely admit that I tried to sell them. It cost me money. There's a fair markup value. This is America. And I just want to say that the present administration that's in now in the government all knows about big business, the right of an American to go out there and to make an honest profit off something. Okay, the sheep were there. I took a couple of shots. It was an agreement with them. They signed papers. And I sold it for a profit, granted, but this is capitalism. It's the American way. There's nothing inherently wrong with trying to make money. It was an infatuation. It was an infatuation on their side, and maybe I took a little bit of an advantage of the sheep. Maybe I did. But look, I don't have to stand here and take your crap while you knock the American way, the American system, and the right for somebody such as myself who has sort of an animal magnetism to be knocked down by this slanderous thing. The societies out here that are trying to prevent me from doing things, I'm not going to stand for it.
Well, I really agree with you. I don't think you should stand for it. I think that we'd like these two officers to accompany you out of the station after this commercial message. They will be taking you down to headquarters for your signed statement. The phones are ringing off the hook right now. In fact, I think I've just heard there was just one. There was from the Elks Club. Apparently, there was a sighting of you and two deer doing it on I-95. And this this is incredible. But this is the latest report we had, and I think, Mr. Schindler, it is time that you go to a place where you can be protected from society and where animals can rest assured that you will be taken care of. So if anything else you have to say can be used against you in a court of law. The officers will be coming after this station break. Do you have any final words to our audience tonight about your behavior and what the effect it has had on the American public and animals especially?
I would just like to say that I have never been with deer on I-95. That's untrue. A guy's got to fool around a little bit on the side, okay? You know, like my dad was saying to me, you know, like he used to date a couple animals. He said there's nothing wrong. Like we had a cat in our house. And okay, my mom, when she was away or at work, you know, Dad would, you know, make it with the cat. But he said there's nothing wrong with that. That's perfect. It's perfectly okay. Just because of your very antiquated moralistic values that you know, that you can't date sheep, you can't date cows. I mean, I think that's a type of bigotry myself. I think that's a civil rights issue that goes across. There's animal rights, buddy. Animals should have the right to date anybody that they want to, and as far as I'm concerned, this is a civil rights issue.
Well, I think the American public feels that the animals have a right to be protected from scum like you, that it's bad enough that you have taken your evil ways against many women that I know that you've married to and have been engaged to numerous other women, and that you treat them like dirt. But we think you've stooped to new lows by taking your aggression, your frustrations, your inability to deal with human beings, taking all these frustrations out on these poor animals, using lines about how, you know, their hut will appreciate, or, you know, I think you told beavers that, you know, the dam that they're building, if they build it up higher up in the river, it would appreciate twice as fast. Animals are susceptible to lines like that. They do not have the sophistication, the communication systems. They are unaware of the scams that you're pulling. We feel, you know, that it's just gone too far. Yes.
These beaver knew what they were getting into. I came along with a legitimate appraisal of their dam. I remember when that happened. That happened about 2 years ago. There was a couple of beaver I had met up in Minnesota. They were building a dam. They asked me for an appraisal on it. I came out and I told them if they made some major improvements in certain types of logs and structures and the type of mud they were backing the thing with, they could really make some money off of it. And I don't see anything wrong with that. You know, like these beavers knew what they were getting into. So I just think that you know, this slanderous stuff launched against me. It's you're going to see me in court. You're going to see me fighting this. I'm going to start a fund up, the Gary Schindler Fund for the creative abuse of animals, and the civil rights and right to abuse animals of all nations, of all nationalities across this land. The right to take advantage, the right to lie, the right to cheat others, the right to talk up a good story and generally be obnoxious, the right to, You see, the way that I look at it is, this is a wide country. A man ought to be able to eat as much garlic as he wants, walk anywhere he wants, date any animal he wants, screw anybody over that he wants. And, that's just the way it ought to be.
Well, Mr. Schindler, I'm sorry that I can't agree with you. I do know that you have strong feelings on this, and that maybe 20 years from now we will look back at this and laugh. But under the present laws of our country at this point, and we cannot tolerate this abusive behavior.
Up there, what is that? Praise the Lard? Praise the Lard. It's a new TV show. It's dedicated to pigs and praise the lard. I just want to make a comment on that. I think that everybody should praise the lard, because it's greasy, lardy people like myself, praise the lard, that have a right to do these things. And, we grease our way through life. We slime around. And, I try to just sort of compare myself. Just imagine this: a warm, very warm summer day. It's getting darker. The night comes upon you. You've got this beautiful sidewalk outside. You walk out. There's this little trail of slime on the sidewalk, and you look down this trail of slime, and there's a slug. Well, I liken myself to that slug, that I can just sort of leave trails of slime wherever I go. And people like you are trying to leave beer and salt out and trap me. And I don't appreciate it, because slugs have a right to live.
It may be true that slugs have a right to live, but there's a question whether you do. I think our time. I think we're going to have a testing. Yes, we found I think the human species has reached an all-time low with this particular segment of our show this evening. I know that many of you out there have comments one way or another. We would like to hear your feedback. We thank you for calling in. When the show goes off the air, we will continue to take callers at the 1-800 number that's on your screen. Again, if you have seen this man in your neighborhood, especially animals that are watching, please call. Counselors will be available to help you, assist you, to get you the counseling that you will need. And we will try to give you further notice of Mr. Schindler's whereabouts. He will be down at the police precinct this evening giving his testimony to a couple of nice detectives who are interested in prosecuting Mr. Schindler under sections 473 of the Criminal Code of Maryland. So thank you this evening, and Mr. Schindler, do you have any final comments?
Yes, I do have some final comments on this. In my apartment, I live in a nice apartment. If I've heard some squirrels or sheep, I'm sorry. I didn't know it. I didn't mean it. This is something I feel like I just have to get off my chest, but off my hairy chest, that is, but off my hairy, greasy chest. I didn't mean to hurt you, Farmer O'Brien. I didn't mean to take advantage of it. The Mexican family that was living up on the outhouse. I really believe that could have been good, and that if we had the right buyer, we could have made a lot more money off of that outhouse. And the time sharing, I'm sorry if there was a mess up in time scheduling. Okay, sue me. It was my fault. I'm sorry. What can I say? I apologize. But and the armadillos. Look, it was a good time. It was meaningful for me. I enjoyed it. I thought you did too. But what can I say? It's c'est la vie, c'est la armadillo. And that chipmunk that called in.
Take a bath, please.
That chipmunk that called in. I just want to say, it's like, look, I think a parking lot still would be a good idea. And I don't know. Okay, I could be knocked around for something like that, but hey, look. I'm sorry, and I just want to say that I do apologize sincerely, very, very sincerely. I apologize sincerely and utmost for all the damages that I've caused. I really mean it. I really mean it. My name is Gary Schindler. I'm a sincere guy, and I'm honest. Look, you're talking to Gary. You're talking to me, and I'm telling you, if I've hurt anybody, okay, fine. To the sheep, all I have to say is, look. Okay, I was looking at that cow for a little bit. I was attracted. But wouldn't you, under the circumstances, just try to look at where I'm coming from, try to look at who I am. Okay? But anyway, everybody has urges. Every human has impulses. And, whether it's for cows, sheep, squirrels, or what, But just please try to forgive me. Like, look at this dog. This dog sort of slimed all over me. Look, it just drooled all over me. It's the Scuzz dog. Now, I come over to somebody's house, and their dog comes up and slimes me. What is this? Is it Ghostbusters? It's like I feel like I've been slimed. It's like, this is absurd. This is ridiculous. Slimed all over my knee. I don't know if it'll ever be ready again. They call this dog Sonny, but ought to be Slimy. Here, Slimy. Here, Slimy. Come here, Slimy. Do you hear the grease man over there? Here, Slimy. Come here, Slimy. You got a nice slice of sliminess. But anyway, I want to apologize to everybody at this point, to all the animals of the world. I let things get away. I went wild. And look, if I can just have one more chance, just one more chance, everything would be fine. I'd bowl better. Well, maybe I wouldn't bowl better. But anyway, just give me the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and we appreciate your time and effort. All the views you've heard tonight are not necessarily the views of this station. We do not necessarily encourage people to molest animals. We also do not necessarily frown upon it. But we do have to present both sides of the issues. You've heard it today. You've heard the case for animals becoming part of the human existence. You've heard from Mr. Gary Schindler, well-known real estate appraisal, also a famous bowler from the Maryland area, and you've also heard from Farmer O'Brien, a man who took Mr. Schindler for 2 years out on his farm and found out that Mexicans are not the lowest form of human being on the earth. So we want to thank all of you and appreciate your time. This is Ted Koppel from Nighttime, and we will now give you the Late Late Show.